My dad gave my promotion to my cousin in his company, claiming I didn't deserve it. I've always prided myself on being a hard worker. From a young age, I was taught the value of perseverance and dedication. My dad owns a successful family business, and I knew that if I worked hard enough, I would eventually be the one to take over. My father's company has been around for years, and I was determined to carry on the legacy. But what I didn't know was that my father, who I looked up to my whole life, had different plans. Plans that didn't involve me at all. Growing up, I had always been my father's right hand. I spent hours after school working in the company, learning the ropes, and doing everything I could to prove myself. My cousin, Jake, who was a few years younger than me, always seemed to float in and out of the business when it was convenient for him. He would visit on weekends or during holidays, but he never seemed to care much about the company itself. Still, my dad always treated him like the golden child. Whenever I tried to bring up my future with the company, my dad would nod and smile but never really engage with my ideas. I always chalked it up to his old-school approach to leadership, assuming he had a vision I didn't fully understand yet. After college, I dedicated myself entirely to the business. I worked long hours, often staying late to finish projects or solve problems that no one else wanted to deal with. I earned a reputation within the company for being reliable and knowledgeable. My dad noticed, but he never really seemed impressed. He was always more focused on Jake, who would pop in for a few weeks each year, making grand promises about improving things, but never actually following through. Every time I felt like I was getting closer to a promotion, something would always get in the way. Then, one day, it happened. I was called into my dad's office after a big meeting with some investors. I was excited because I thought this would be the moment where all my hard work would finally pay off. I had just completed a major project that saved the company a lot of money, and I was sure my dad would recognize it. I walked in and sat down, eager to hear what my father had to say. He looked at me with a serious expression, which was unusual. I was used to his usual warm, reassuring smile. "Son, I've been thinking a lot about the future of the company," he started. "You've done a great job, and I'm proud of the work you've put in. But I've made a decision." I was thrilled. This was it. I thought I was about to be promoted. But then he said something that would change my life forever. "I've decided that Jake is going to take over the next big role in the company," he said, almost as if it was the most natural thing in the world. I was stunned. "What do you mean, take over? I've been here for years. I've been doing everything I can to prove myself. I've earned this." My dad raised his hand to stop me. "Listen, I know you've worked hard, but Jake has a lot of potential. He has a vision for where the company should go, and I think he'll be the one to take us to the next level." I felt my heart sink. This couldn't be real. "Dad, I've been here for years. I've been the one working day in and day out. Jake doesn't care about this place. He's just here for a few weeks at a time, making promises that never come true. Why are you giving him the position?" My father looked at me coldly, a look I'd never seen before. "Because, son, I think you've been too focused on the day-to-day tasks. You don't see the bigger picture. Jake has a fresh perspective, and that's what we need right now. I've made up my mind." I left his office in a daze, feeling like I had been punched in the gut. I couldn't believe it. All those years of sacrifice, all the late nights, and my dad gave the position to Jake, the same cousin who couldn't even be bothered to show up for work most of the time. My dad, the man who had taught me the importance of hard work, had just dismissed everything I had done. The worst part was that my dad made it clear that I was not a part of the future he envisioned for the company. He subtly told me that I should stay in my lane and focus on what I was good at, which to him meant the smaller, less important tasks. It was a slap in the face, and it hurt more than anything I had ever experienced. I thought my dad would be proud of me, but instead, he chose the easy way out, giving the role to someone who hadn't earned it. Jake, of course, was thrilled. He didn't see anything wrong with the way things had gone down. In fact, he rubbed it in my face, gloating about how everything was falling into place for him. He didn't understand the years of work I had put in, nor did he care. He was just happy to be handed something without having to do much for it. I spent the next few months feeling resentful. I couldn't stomach the idea of continuing to work in the company, knowing I was being overlooked in favor of someone who didn't deserve it. Every time I walked into the office, it felt like a reminder of how little my dad valued me. It wasn't just about the promotion. It was about my dad's complete disregard for everything I had done for the company. Eventually, I made the decision to leave. I couldn't stay there any longer, watching Jake take credit for my hard work. I left the company and started my own business. It wasn't easy, but it was the best decision I ever made. I realized that I didn't need my dad's approval to succeed. I could carve my own path. To this day, my relationship with my dad is strained. We don't talk much, and whenever we do, it's always awkward. He still doesn't understand why I left, but I know I made the right choice. I learned that family can betray you in ways you never expect, and sometimes you have to be your own champion. So, was I right for leaving my dad's company to start my own? Let me know in the comments below.